The vastness of space surrounded the human warship Defiant as it cruised through an unexplored sector. Captain James Ward stood on the bridge, his weathered face reflecting the stars that stretched before them. This was the farthest any human vessel had traveled from Earth, and the weight of that responsibility sat heavily on his shoulders. "Captain, I'm picking up unusual energy readings," said Lisa, the sensor officer. Her fingers moved quickly over the glowing control panel. "It looks like weapons fire, sir. A lot of it." Ward straightened his uniform and moved closer to the main view screen. "Show me." The screen shifted to reveal a stunning and terrifying sight. Two fleets of alien ships exchanged brilliant beams of energy across the darkness of space. The battle was massive, with dozens of vessels locked in combat. On one side, ships with smooth golden hulls that seemed to glow with inner light. On the other, dark angular vessels that moved with predatory grace. "That's a full-scale war," muttered Ward. "How far?" "Less than 10 minutes at our current speed, sir," replied Tom, the navigator. "They haven't noticed us yet." The bridge fell silent as the crew watched the distant battle. No human had ever encountered an alien civilization before, let alone two of them locked in conflict. "Options?" Ward asked, looking at his senior officers gathered around him. Robert, the tactical officer, spoke first. "We should turn around, sir. First contact shouldn't happen in the middle of someone else's war." "I agree," said Emma, the first officer. "We don't know who's right or wrong in this fight." "But what if we can help?" asked David, the communications specialist. "This could be a chance to make a good first impression." Ward nodded, considering their words carefully. The Defiant was a powerful warship, the pride of Earth's fleet, but it was just one vessel. Getting involved in an alien conflict could have serious consequences for all of humanity. "Let's watch for now," Ward decided. "Keep our distance and gather information. David, see if you can pick up any communications between their ships. Let's try to understand what we're seeing." David turned to his station and began working. Minutes passed as the Defiant moved closer, still undetected by either alien fleet. "Sir, I'm getting something," David said suddenly. "It's being broadcast on multiple frequencies. I think it's a distress call." "Can you translate it?" asked Ward. "Working on it, sir. Our computers are analyzing the patterns." David paused, his expression changing. "Got it. It's basic enough that our systems can interpret the meaning." He pressed a button, and a desperate voice filled the bridge. Though the words were alien, the translation appeared on their screens. "To any vessels within range, this is Admiral Lux of the Solar Fleet. We are transporting civilians from the outer colonies. The Void Empire is attacking without mercy. We cannot hold much longer. Please assist. There are children aboard our evacuation ships." Ward's jaw tightened as he processed this information. "Show me these evacuation ships." The view screen zoomed in on the battle. Behind the golden ships, smaller vessels were trying to escape the fight. The Dark Fleet was pressing hard, focusing fire on the warships protecting these civilian transports. "Sir," said Lisa suddenly, "one of the Dark ships has broken through the defensive line. It's targeting an escape pod." The screen showed a tiny craft, barely large enough for a few people, drifting away from a damaged golden ship. A Dark vessel was turning toward it, weapons charging. Ward didn't hesitate. "Battle stations. Tom, full speed ahead. Robert, ready weapons but hold fire until my command." The Defiant surged forward, its powerful engines pushing it toward the battle at incredible speed. The bridge transformed as officers moved with practiced efficiency to their combat positions. "We're being scanned," Lisa reported. "Both fleets have detected us." "David, open a channel to all ships," ordered Ward. When David nodded, the captain spoke clearly. "This is Captain James Ward of the Earth warship Defiant. We are here on a peaceful mission, but will not allow attacks on defenseless civilians. Cease fire on the escape pod immediately." The Dark ship didn't respond. Instead, its weapons glowed brighter as it prepared to fire on the pod. "They're not stopping, sir," said Robert. Ward's expression hardened. "Target their weapons systems only. Fire." The Defiant's main gun released a precise beam of energy that struck the dark ship's weapon port. The alien vessel rocked from the impact, its charging weapons going dark. Complete silence fell across both fleets. All weapons fire stopped as every alien ship turned its attention to the newcomer. "They've never seen a human ship before," Emma said quietly. "They have no idea what we're capable of." She was right. The Defiant's technology was different from both alien fleets. Its hull design, weapons signatures, and engine output were completely foreign to them. Before anyone could speak, 3 more dark ships turned toward the Defiant, weapons charging. "They're targeting us now, sir," reported Robert. 3 vessels, converging pattern. Ward remained calm. "Defensive posture. Show them we can protect ourselves without escalating." The Defiant's shield system activated, creating a visible blue field around the ship. When the dark vessels fired, their energy beams scattered harmlessly across the shield's surface. "Return fire," ordered Ward. "Disable their propulsion systems." The Defiant fired again, this time hitting the engines of all 3 attacking ships with surgical precision. The dark vessels began to drift, unable to maneuver. From the Golden Fleet, a larger ship moved forward. "Captain Ward, this is Admiral Lux of the Solar Empire. Your intervention is unexpected. May I ask why an unknown species has entered our conflict?" "We were exploring this region when we detected your battle," Ward replied honestly. "When we saw weapons targeting an unarmed escape pod, we couldn't stand by and watch." There was a pause before Lux responded. "The Void Empire knows no mercy. They would have destroyed that pod without hesitation." As if to prove this point, the remaining dark ships suddenly regrouped and began to retreat, moving away from both the Solar Fleet and the Defiant. "They're leaving, sir," said Lisa with surprise. "All Void ships are withdrawing from the battle." Admiral Lux's voice returned. "It seems they are unwilling to fight an unknown enemy. Your appearance has done what our fleet could not, forced them to retreat." There was a mixture of gratitude and wariness in his tone. "The Solar Empire extends its thanks, Captain Ward. We would be honored if you would accompany us to safety so that we might properly express our gratitude." Ward looked at Emma, who nodded cautiously. "We accept your invitation, Admiral," Ward replied. "We come in peace and friendship." As the Defiant moved alongside the golden ships, Ward watched the retreating dark fleet. He couldn't shake the feeling that this simple act of protection had just entangled humanity in something much larger than a single battle. "Sir," said Emma quietly at his side, "do you think we did the right thing?" Ward looked at the escape pod they had saved, now being recovered by a solar ship. "We protected innocent lives," he answered. "That's always the right thing. But I suspect our journey just became much more complicated." The Defiant followed the Solar Fleet away from the battlefield, leaving behind the site of humanity's first contact with alien life and its first involvement in an interstellar war. 3 days had passed since the Defiant's unexpected entry into the alien conflict. The human warship now orbited the gleaming central planet of the Solar Empire, a world of towering crystal cities and vast blue oceans. From the observation deck, Captain Ward watched the constant flow of ships moving through the planet's atmosphere. "It's beautiful," he said as Admiral Lux joined him at the viewport. "Helios Prime has been our capital for 5 centuries, replied Lux, his silver-skinned face reflecting the sunlight. Before the war, it was a center of art and learning for the entire sector. Ward nodded, noticing how Lux emphasized, "before the war," with a heaviness that spoke of great loss. "Your people have been very welcoming to us. You saved many lives, Captain. The Solar Council wishes to honor you and your crew tonight at the Grand Hall." Lux paused. "Though I should warn you, not all council members share my enthusiasm for your arrival." "I understand their caution," Ward said. "We're strangers who appeared with advanced weapons." Before Lux could respond, Ward's communicator beeped. "Excuse me, Admiral." He stepped away and activated the device. "Ward here." "Captain, it's Anna," came the voice of his chief engineer. "I need to see you in engine room 3. It's urgent." Ward found Anna Miller in the Defiant's lower decks, her face smudged with coolant fluid as she stood beside the ship's jump drive. The massive device that allowed for faster-than-light travel was partially disassembled, with components spread across the floor. "What happened?" Ward asked, looking at the damaged machinery. Anna wiped her hands on a cloth. "The battle damaged our jump drive worse than we thought. When that void ship hit us with their energy weapon, it created a feedback loop in our systems." She pointed to a blackened component. "The dimensional stabilizer is completely fried. Can you repair it?" Anna shook her head. "Not without parts we don't have. We're stuck here, Captain. The Defiant isn't going anywhere." Ward absorbed this news quietly. "How long to fabricate replacement parts?" "With our equipment? Months, maybe. And that's assuming we can recreate the quantum matrix correctly." She hesitated. "There is another option. The solar engineers have offered to help. Their technology is different, but advanced. With their assistance, we might cut the time down significantly. That would mean giving them access to our most sensitive technology," Ward said. "Yes, sir. That's why I wanted to speak with you privately." Ward nodded. "Keep this quiet for now. I'll consider our options." As Ward left the engine room, he was met by Mark Davis, the ship's intelligence officer. The man's usual calm demeanor seemed disturbed. "Sir, we need to talk," Davis said in a low voice. "Not here." They found an empty conference room where Davis activated a small device that created a field of static around them. "Anti-listening technology," he explained. "I don't trust our hosts." "Why not?" Davis placed a data tablet on the table. "I've been analyzing the information they've shared about their war with the Voids. Things don't add up." Ward looked at the screen, which showed maps, battle reports, and historical accounts. "Explain." "The Solars claim the Voids attacked their peaceful colonies without provocation a century ago. But look at these star charts." Davis highlighted several systems. These peaceful colonies were mining operations on planets the Voids had already claimed. The Solars moved in during a Void religious holiday when their defenses were minimal. "You're saying the Solars started this war." "I'm saying neither side is telling us the whole truth. Both empires have rewritten history to paint themselves as victims." Davis swiped to a new page showing casualty reports. "Both sides have committed atrocities, sir. This isn't a simple case of good versus evil." Ward frowned. "Have you shared this with anyone else?" "Just Emma. She's running her own analysis to confirm." The captain's communicator beeped again. This time it was David from Communications. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission," David reported. "It's from the Void Empire." 20 minutes later, Ward stood on the bridge with his senior officers, watching the main screen where the face of a Void commander appeared. Unlike the silver-skinned Solars, the Voids had dark purple skin with small ridges along their foreheads. Their eyes were completely black. "I am Commander Nex of the Void Imperial Fleet," the alien stated. "I speak directly to the human captain who interfered in our military operation." Ward stepped forward. "This is Captain Ward. I'm listening. You have been missiled by solar propaganda, Captain. We request a neutral meeting to present our perspective on this conflict." Emma whispered to Ward. "This could be a trap." "It could also be an opportunity," he whispered back, then addressed Nex. "Where would this meeting take place?" "The neutral trading station at Crosspoint. No weapons, equal representatives from each party. You will hear truth there, not solar lies." The transmission ended abruptly. The bridge crew looked to their captain. "Sir," Robert said from Tactical, "the Solars will consider any meeting with the Voids as a betrayal." "They might even try to prevent us from going," added Lisa. Ward considered this. "The Admiral did mention not everyone was happy about our arrival. Davis, what do you think?" Davis crossed his arms. "If we want the full picture, We need to hear both sides. The Crosspoint Station is genuinely neutral territory according to my research. I agree, said Emma, but we should be careful how we handle this with our hosts. Later that evening, the grand reception at the Solar Council Hall was in full swing. Hundreds of solar officials and dignitaries mingled with the Defiance officers. Music played from invisible sources, while servers carried trays of exotic foods and drinks. Ward was speaking with a group of solar scientists when Admiral Lux approached with an elderly solar whose ornate robes signified high rank. Captain, may I present Council Leader Ray, head of the solar government? Lux said formally. Ray studied Ward with eyes that seemed to calculate his worth. Captain, your intervention against the Voids was most timely. The Solar Empire is grateful. We're glad we could help, Council Leader, Ward replied diplomatically. Yes, help. Ray's voice cooled. Though one wonders why humans were so close to our territory, and with such an impressive warship. We're explorers, Ward explained. The Defiant is armed for our protection, but our mission is peaceful. Ray nodded, unconvinced. Admiral Lux tells me you're interested in our history with the Voids. I believe understanding your conflict might help us avoid misunderstandings. A wise approach. Ray smiled thinly. Perhaps you would be interested in joining a strategic briefing tomorrow. We could provide a more complete picture of our struggle. I would appreciate that, Ward said. He hesitated, then added, in the interest of full understanding, I should mention that we've received a communication from the Void Empire. The room seemed to freeze. Ray's face hardened while Lux looked alarmed. They've requested a meeting at Crosspoint Station, Ward continued. I believe hearing both perspectives would be valuable. The Voids are masterful liars, Ray said sharply. They will fill your mind with falsehoods to divide us. With respect, Council Leader, I need to form my own opinions. Ray stepped closer. Captain Ward, you saved solar lives. We welcomed you as friends. Meeting with our enemies suggests you don't value that friendship. Ward stood his ground. True friends respect each other's independence. My crew and I will attend this meeting. Then perhaps you are not the allies we hoped for, Ray said coldly before turning away. Admiral Lux lingered, looking uncomfortable. The Council Leader speaks from centuries of pain, Captain. Please understand our position. I'm trying to understand everyone's position, Admiral. That's the point. As the solar officials moved away, Emma joined Ward. That went about as well as expected. Keep the crew on alert, Ward instructed quietly. I don't think they'll try to stop us by force, but let's be prepared. When do we leave for Crosspoint? 6 hours, and Captain. Emma lowered her voice further. Davis has found something else. Information about an ancient weapon both empires have been searching for. Something that could end this war permanently. Ward looked around at the glittering celebration, suddenly feeling the weight of forces moving around them like currents in a dangerous sea. This just got more complicated, he murmured. Much more complicated. Crosspoint Station hung in the darkness of space like a giant metal wheel. Hundreds of ships from different species docked at its many ports, making it a true neutral ground in the war-torn sector. The Defiant approached slowly, its crew tense after their hasty departure from solar space. No signs of pursuit, Robert reported from the tactical station. The Solars didn't try to stop us. They didn't need to, Emma said. They know where we're going. Captain Ward nodded. Stay alert. Lisa, any void ships in the area? The sensor officer checked her screens. Just one small transport at the far side of the station. It matches the description of Commander Nex's vessel. Good. Ward stood from his chair. Emma, Robert, you're with me. Davis, keep analyzing the information we gathered from the solar archives. Dr. Reed, continue your research on that mysterious artifact both empires are searching for. Dr. Ellie Reed, the ship's science officer, looked up from her datapad. Captain, I may have a lead on its location. If I could access the station's astronomical database. Do it, Ward authorized, but be discreet. The meeting with Commander Nex took place in a small private room in Crosspoint's diplomatic section. The Void officer was tall and imposing, with the characteristic purple skin of his species. 2 guards flanked him, their expressions unreadable. "Captain Ward," Nex said with a slight bow. "Thank you for agreeing to this meeting despite solar pressure. I'm interested in hearing all sides," Ward replied carefully. Nex gestured to the seats around a small table. "Then let us speak plainly. The Solar Empire portrays us as monsters, yes. Mindless destroyers who attack without cause." "Something like that," Emma confirmed. Nex touched a device on his wrist, and a holographic display appeared above the table. It showed a star system with several planets. "The Terran system," he explained. "The original home of the Void people before solar mining operations poisoned our atmosphere. They claim we attacked their peaceful colonies. In truth, we were reclaiming worlds that were ours by ancient right." The display shifted to show battles, refugee ships, and devastated planets. "Both sides have suffered," Nex continued. "Both sides have inflicted pain. But the solar leadership hides a terrible secret. They seek an ancient weapon that could destroy entire star systems." Ward exchanged glances with Emma. "We've heard rumors of this weapon." "Not rumors. Truth." Nex leaned forward. "If they find it first, they will wipe out not just our military, but all Void worlds. Billions of civilians." "And if you find it first?" Robert asked pointedly. Nex hesitated. "Our leaders would use it only on military targets." "You don't sound convinced," Ward observed. "I am a soldier who has seen too much death," Nex admitted. "This weapon should not exist, but neither can we allow the Solars to possess it." Before Ward could respond, his communicator beeped urgently. "Excuse me," he said, stepping away to answer. "Ward here. Captain, it's Dr. Reed." The scientist's voice was excited. "I found it. The artifact is located in the Hollow Nebula, an uninhabited system just a few hours from our position. Neither empire has searched there because of the radiation interference." "Are you certain?" "As certain as I can be without seeing it myself. The station's records contain ancient star charts that show the artifact's original placement. It's still there, hidden in the nebula's core." Ward ended the communication and rejoined the meeting, his mind racing. If Reed was right, the Defiant could reach this weapon before either empire. "Commander Nex," he said carefully, "I appreciate your honesty. We will consider everything you've shared." Nex stood. "Consider quickly, Captain. This war has lasted too long already." As Ward and his officers left the diplomatic quarter, Davis contacted them. "Captain, we have a problem. Solar General Beam has just docked at the station with 3 warships." Ward quickened his pace. "How did they know we'd be here?" "They must have tracked us," Emma suggested. "Or they have spies on the station." They rounded a corner and found themselves face to face with a group of solar soldiers, led by a stern-faced officer with a gleaming silver uniform. "Captain Ward," the officer said coldly. "I am General Beam of the Solar Defense Force. By order of the Council, your ship is now under solar protection." "The Defiant doesn't need protection," Ward replied. "Perhaps I wasn't clear." Beam's hand moved to his weapon. "Your technology is too valuable to risk in Void hands. Your crew will transfer command of the Defiant to Solar officers immediately." Robert stepped forward. "That's not happening, General." "Then you leave me no choice." Beam raised his hand to signal the soldiers, but Ward was faster. He activated his emergency communicator. "Ward to Defiant. Emergency transport now." Before the solar soldiers could react, Ward and his officers dissolved in a flash of blue light, reappearing instantly on the Defiant's transport platform. "All hands, battle stations," Ward ordered as he ran for the bridge. "Prepare for immediate departure." The Defiant's engines roared to life as the crew rushed to their positions. On the main screen, they could see solar ships moving to block their exit from the station. "We have incoming transmission from General Beam," David reported. "Ignore it," Ward commanded. "Lisa, set course for the Hollow Nebula." Maximum speed. Robert, shields up. The Defiant pulled away from Crosspoint Station, evading the solar vessels with a series of tight maneuvers. They're firing morning shots, Robert reported as energy beams flashed past them. Keep going, Ward ordered. We need to reach that nebula before they realize where we're headed. The Defiant shot forward, leaving the solar ship struggling to match its superior speed. Soon, they were racing through space toward the cloudy expanse of the hollow nebula. Dr. Reed joined them on the bridge, her face flushed with excitement. Captain, if my calculations are correct, the artifact is hidden on a small planetoid at these coordinates. She transferred the data to the navigation console. I see it, Tom confirmed. Setting course now. As they approached the nebula, its swirling gases obscured their sensors. Brilliant colors flashed outside the viewports as the ship pushed deeper into the cosmic cloud. Radiation levels rising, Lisa warned. Shields holding at 80%. Keep going, Ward instructed. How much further? 2 minutes to the coordinates, Tom answered. Suddenly, alarms blared across the bridge. Captain, we have multiple ships on our tail, Robert shouted. Both solar and void vessels. Ward grimaced. They must have figured out where we're going. How? Emma demanded. No one knew except. She stopped, looking around the bridge suspiciously. We have a traitor on board, Ward realized. Someone transmitted our destination. Before they could consider this further, the ship rocked violently. Direct hit on our aft shields, Robert reported. Void cruiser closing fast. Evasive maneuvers, Ward ordered. We need to reach that planetoid. The Defiant dove deeper into the nebula, twisting through the colorful gases as enemy weapons fire lit up the clouds around them. Ahead, a small dark mass became visible. There it is, Dr. Reed pointed. The planetoid. Sensors detect a structure on the surface, Lisa added. Artificial, very old. Ward made his decision. Tom, put us down near that structure. Emma, prepare an away team. We need to secure the artifact before either empire can get their hands on it. As the Defiant descended toward the barren surface of the planetoid, enemy ships circled above like hungry predators. Whatever this weapon is, Ward said grimly, it's just made us the most hunted ship in the sector. The Defiant touched down with a gentle shudder. Through the view screen, they could see a strange, pyramid-like structure glowing with an inner blue light. After a century of searching, both empires were minutes away from claiming the most powerful weapon in the galaxy, and the crew of a single human warship stood in their way. Captain Ward led the away team across the rocky surface of the planetoid. The blue glow from the pyramid structure cast eerie shadows as they approached. Dr. Reed walked beside him, scanning with her device, while Emma and Robert kept watch for pursuers. This structure is over 10,000 years old, Reed said with wonder. Yet it's generating power as if it were built yesterday. They'd reached the base of the pyramid, which towered nearly 100 feet high. Smooth black stone reflected the blue light that pulsed from thin lines running up its sides. How do we get in? Robert asked, touching the seamless surface. As if answering his question, a section of the wall simply vanished, revealing a dark passage leading inside. It reacted to our presence, Reed whispered. Ward touched his communicator. Ward to Defiant. Status report. Davis here, sir. Solar and void ships have surrounded the planetoid. They're holding position, but not attacking. Keep me informed. Ward out. He looked at his team. Let's move quickly. They entered the pyramid, their lights revealing a long corridor sloping downward. The walls were covered with strange symbols that glowed faintly as they passed. These aren't solar or void writings, Reed noted. This civilization predates both empires by thousands of years. At the end of the corridor, they entered a vast chamber. In its center, floating above a pedestal, was a small crystalline object about the size of a human hand. It pulsed with intense blue light. That's it. Robert sounded disappointed. That's the super weapon. Don't underestimate it, Reed cautioned, studying her scanner. The energy readings are off the scale. This crystal could indeed power a weapon capable of destroying star systems. Ward approached the pedestal carefully. Can we move it safely? I believe so. The containment field seems designed to be portable. As Reed reached for the crystal, Ward's communicator beeped again. Captain, Davis's voice was urgent. Both fleets are launching landing craft. They'll reach your position in minutes. Understood. Prepare the Defiant for immediate. A weapon fired behind them. Emma fell with a cry of pain, clutching her shoulder. The team spun around to see Lieutenant Tom from navigation standing at the chamber entrance, a void blaster in his hand. Don't move, Captain, Tom ordered, his face twisted with anger. Step away from the artifact. You're the traitor, Ward realized. You've been working with the voids. Tom laughed bitterly. Not with the voids, or the Solars. With people who want to end this pointless war. He tapped a symbol on his uniform that Ward had never noticed before. A small circle divided in half, one side gold, one side purple. The Union of Free Worlds, Tom explained. Made up of refugees and rebels from both empires. We've been working for decades to bring down both governments. By stealing a super weapon, Ward demanded. By preventing either side from having it. Tom gestured with his weapon. Now step aside. Our people are landing outside. Before Ward could reply, the pyramid shook violently. Dust fell from the ceiling as the sound of explosions reached them. The empires are fighting each other to reach us, Robert said. We're out of time. Tom aimed his weapon at the floating crystal. If I destroy it, neither side can use it. Wait, Reed shouted. You don't understand what this is. Too late, Tom fired at the crystal. But instead of shattering, the blue artifact absorbed the energy beam. It began to spin faster, glowing brighter, until the entire chamber was bathed in blinding light. When the light faded, the crystal had transformed. It now projected a holographic image of a being unlike any they had seen. Tall, with 4 arms and a serene face. Greetings, the image spoke in a voice that somehow reached their minds directly. You have activated the messenger. I am an echo of the Guardians, left behind to guide worthy species when they were ready. Everyone stood frozen in shock, even Tom. This isn't a weapon, Reed whispered in awe. No, the hologram confirmed. Those who seek weapons find only destruction. This is a communication hub, linked to our network that spans galaxies. We observed your conflict and waited for those who sought understanding rather than power. Ward stepped forward. We didn't know what we were looking for. Yet you came seeking truth, not conquest. That is why the messenger responded to you. The holographic guardian turned toward the entrance, where sounds of fighting were growing louder. Your pursuers fight over a weapon that does not exist, continuing a war based on lies and manipulation. What do you mean? Emma asked, still clutching her wounded shoulder. The Guardian's image shifted to show historical scenes, meetings between solar and void leaders, secret agreements, and manufactured conflicts. Both empires are controlled by the same secret organization, the hologram explained. The Eternal Council has kept your peoples fighting for generations, harvesting resources, and maintaining power through fear and hatred. Tom lowered his weapon in shock. That's impossible. The empires have been enemies for centuries. A carefully crafted illusion, the Guardian replied. The truth has been hidden even from high-ranking officials in both governments. Ward turned to Tom. Your Union of Free Worlds. Did they suspect this? We had theories, but nothing concrete. Tom looked shaken. Our leaders believed both governments were corrupt, but not that they were secretly working together. Outside, the sounds of battle grew closer. The pyramid shook again from a nearby explosion. We need to get this information to both fleets, Ward decided. If their soldiers learn they've been fighting a manufactured war, they might stand down. The messenger can broadcast the truth, the Guardian offered. It was designed to reach all communication systems in this sector, but it requires a guide. someone to direct the message. I'll do it, Reed volunteered. I can interface with the technology. Ward nodded. Do it quickly. Robert, help Emma. Tom. He looked at the lieutenant who had betrayed them. We'll deal with your actions later. For now, help us end this conflict. Tom hesitated, then nodded. The Union has ships mixed in with both fleets. If we can contact them, they'll help spread the message. Ward's communicator beeped again. Captain, Davis here. We got a major problem. A contingent of solar troops has boarded the Defiant. General Beam is demanding we surrender the ship. Hold them off as long as you can, Ward ordered. We're about to change everything. Dr. Reed stepped onto the pedestal and placed her hands on the crystal. The blue light enveloped her, and her eyes widened as information flowed into her mind. It's incredible, she gasped. I can see the truth of everything. The entire history. The deception. The holographic guardian nodded. Share what you learn. Break the cycle of conflict. Reed closed her eyes in concentration. The crystal pulsed faster, and waves of blue energy began to radiate outward, passing through the pyramid walls and expanding across space. It's working, Reed said. The signal is reaching every ship, every communication device in both fleets. On the Defiant, Davis watched in amazement as every screen filled with the same images. Secret meetings between supposedly enemy leaders, plans to prolong the war, and evidence of the manipulation that had cost billions of lives over centuries. General Beam, who had been threatening the bridge crew, stopped mid-sentence as his own communication device displayed the truth. His face paled as he recognized his superior officers in meetings with Void leaders he had been ordered to kill. This can't be real, he whispered. It is, Davis replied. Your war is a lie. Outside the pyramid, the fighting between solar and void landing parties suddenly ceased as soldiers on both sides received the same revelation. Weapons were lowered as ancient enemies stared at each other in confusion and growing anger. Not at each other, but at the leaders who had deceived them. Inside the pyramid, Ward watched as the truth spread. What happens now? He asked the Guardian. That depends on your peoples, the hologram replied. The messenger has fulfilled its purpose. The knowledge is shared. What you build from this truth is your choice. Tom stepped forward, his weapon now holstered. The Union has plans for peace, frameworks for cooperation developed by people from both empires. With this revelation, soldiers and citizens will listen now. And the Defiant? Emma asked, her wound bandaged by Robert. We're still caught between two empires, Ward acknowledged. But everything has changed. We're no longer dealing with enemies, but with peoples who've been victims of the same deception. The Guardian's hologram began to fade. Your human ship has indeed changed the fate of two empires, as was foreseen. Use this moment wisely. As the image disappeared, the crystal stopped glowing and gently settled onto the pedestal, now just a beautiful but ordinary object. Reed stepped back, her face showing both exhaustion and wonder. It's done. Everyone knows the truth now. Ward's communicator beeped once more. This time, it was Anna, the chief engineer. Captain, you won't believe what's happening. The solar troops on board have surrendered. And there's more. We're receiving messages from dozens of ships, both solar and void. They're asking to meet with you. Ward exchanged looks with his officers and even Tom. For the first time since arriving in this sector, he felt a glimmer of hope. Tell them we'll meet on neutral ground, he replied. We have much to discuss. As they prepared to leave the pyramid, Ward took one last look at the crystal that had changed everything. Not a weapon at all, but something far more powerful. The truth. 1 week after the revelation at the pyramid, the Defiant orbited a small green moon that served as neutral territory. In a large meeting hall on the surface, Captain Ward sat at a round table with representatives from both empires and the Union of Free Worlds. This peace is fragile, said Commander Nex of the Void Fleet. His dark eyes moved across the faces around the table. Many still refuse to believe the truth about the Eternal Council. "The same on our side," admitted Admiral Lux. The solar leader looked tired, his silver skin less bright than before. "Several high-ranking officials have disappeared rather than face questioning. They're likely trying to reach Eternal Council's safe havens." Tom, now representing the Union after being pardoned by Ward, spread a star map across the table. "Our agents have identified 3 major Council bases. They're heavily defended and located in remote systems." Ward studied the map thoughtfully. "The Eternal Council won't give up power easily. They've controlled both empires for centuries. They'll try to restart the war." As if confirming his words, an urgent message came through on the communication system. Emma's voice filled the meeting hall. "Captain, we've detected a large fleet approaching from the solar capital direction. They're not responding to hails and have weapons charged." The representatives looked at each other in alarm. Lux tapped his own communicator. "This is Admiral Lux. Identify those ships immediately." A solar officer responded. "They appear to be the 7th Fleet, Admiral. But they're not following standard protocols. We believe they've remained loyal to Council Leader Ray." Ray was one of the highest-ranking Council agents, Lux explained grimly. "If he's gathered the 7th Fleet, he has over 30 warships under his command." Nex stood quickly. "I have only 8 ships in position to defend this moon. Not enough against 30. The Defiant will help," Ward promised, "and we need to call in every loyal ship from both empires." "Many won't come," Lux said. "They still don't trust each other enough to fight side by side." Ward looked around the table at the former enemies who now sat together. "Then we show them it's possible. We lead by example." Within hours, a strange fleet had formed around the Green Moon. 5 void ships, 7 solar vessels, and the Defiant positioned themselves in a defensive formation. It was the first time in a century that solar and void ships had worked together. On the Defiant's bridge, Ward watched the approaching enemy fleet on the main view screen. The massive solar vessels moved in perfect formation, their golden hulls gleaming against the darkness of space. "They'll be in weapons range in 10 minutes, Robert reported from Tactical. "All ships report ready, Captain," added David from Communications. Ward nodded. "Open a channel to all vessels, both ours and theirs." When the channel was open, Ward stood tall. "This is Captain James Ward of the Earth Warship Defiant. To the approaching Solar 7th Fleet, you have been missiled. The war between solars and voids was manufactured by the Eternal Council. Stand down your weapons and join us in building a true peace." There was no response except for the continued advance of the enemy ships. "They're not going to listen," Emma said quietly. "Then we make our stand," Ward replied. "All ships, prepare for combat. Remember our strategy. Protect each other, regardless of origin. Today we are one fleet." The battle began with a massive volley from the 7th Fleet. Energy beams cut across space toward the defenders. "Evasive maneuvers," Ward ordered. The Defiant moved with surprising agility for its size, avoiding the worst of the attack. Around them, solar and void ships executed a coordinated defense pattern that confused the attackers who had expected them to fight separately. "Return fire," Ward commanded. "Target their weapons systems only." The Defiant's main guns fired precisely, disabling 2 enemy ships without destroying them. Across the battlefield, their allies followed the same approach, disabling rather than destroying. "Sir," Lisa called from sensors, 3 more ships approaching from the void territories. Ward tensed, wondering if more enemies had arrived. But Emma smiled as she checked the identification. "It's Commander Nex's reserve squadron," she reported. They received his message and came to help. Throughout the battle, more ships arrived. A few at first, then dozens. Solar and void vessels that had received the truth from the messenger chose to join the defenders rather than continue the lie of their endless war. Council Leader Ray's voice suddenly broke through on all channels. "This is meaningless resistance. The Council has controlled your peoples for 500 years. We cannot be defeated by this temporary alliance of fools." "Nothing temporary about it," Ward replied calmly. "Your deception is over, Ray." On the view screen, they could see Ray's flagship moving forward, breaking formation to target the Defiant directly. "He's making this personal," Emma observed. "Fine by me," Ward said. "Robert, prepare a special welcome for our friend." As Ray's massive flagship approached, it fired all weapons at the Defiant. The human warship's shields flared brilliantly but held. "Now, Robert," Ward ordered. The Defiant fired a complex pattern of energy beams that bypassed the flagship's shields by exploiting a weakness in solar defense systems, knowledge shared by Admiral Lux himself. The beams struck with surgical precision, disabling the ship's engines and weapons. "We have them," Robert reported with satisfaction. Within minutes, the remaining enemy ships, seeing their leader disabled and now outnumbered by the growing Allied fleet, began to power down their weapons. David looked up from communications with a broad smile. "Captain, they're surrendering. All of them." A cheer went up across the bridge. Ward allowed himself a small smile before returning to his command chair. "Open a channel to all ships," he ordered. "Allied and former enemies." When the channel was open, Ward spoke clearly. "This is Captain Ward. Today marks not a victory of one side over another, but a victory of truth over deception. The war that has claimed billions of lives was based on lies. Now we have a chance to build something new together." 3 days later, representatives from all factions gathered on the Green Moon. The meeting hall was now filled to capacity as Solar and Void leaders sat together to sign the first true peace treaty between their peoples in 5 centuries. Admiral Lux and Commander Nex stood side by side at the front of the hall. Behind them sat Captain Ward and his senior officers, witnesses to this historic moment. "The Galactic Council of Free Worlds is hereby established," Lux announced, using the new name chosen for their unified government. "No longer will Solars and Voids be enemies. No longer will the Eternal Council manipulate us for their gain." Nex stepped forward. "And we acknowledge the special role of Earth and its representatives in bringing this peace. The humans showed us that outsiders sometimes see truth more clearly than those blinded by centuries of hatred." After the ceremony, Anna found Ward looking out at the stars from an observation deck. "Good news, Captain," she said brightly. "With the help of both Solar and Void engineers, we've repaired the Defiant's jump drive. We can head home whenever you give the word." Ward nodded, but his expression remained thoughtful. "After everything that's happened, I'm not sure our mission is complete. Sir, Earth sent us to explore, to make contact with other civilizations. We've done that, but now these people are looking to us as mediators, as neutral parties who can help them build lasting peace." Emma joined them, having overheard. "The crew would support staying longer, sir. We've started something important here." Ward smiled. "Then send a message to Earth. Tell them the Defiant requests extended assignment to this sector. We'll serve as Earth's first permanent embassy to the newly formed Galactic Council." As Anna and Emma left to carry out his orders, Ward continued looking at the stars. Beyond the viewport, Solar and Void ships now patrolled together, former enemies becoming allies. One small human warship had arrived by chance in an ancient conflict. Through courage, wisdom, and a commitment to truth, they had changed the fate of 2 mighty empires and billions of lives across countless worlds. The Defiant had lived up to its name, defying expectations and reshaping the future of this corner of the galaxy. And in doing so, humanity had taken its first true steps into a much larger universe.